member here in the city of Mount Vernon, and I'm here today to lend our voice in support of our emergency services personnel, particularly our fire department and our police departments. But before I speak, I'm going to invite up Damon Jones to talk from the National Black and Law Enforcement chapter representing New York State. And also just comment that we're also joined by Sherman Trotman from the Mount Vernon IAFF Local 107, representing the firemen of Mount Vernon. We're also joined by Barry McGoey from IAFF Local 628, representing the Yonkers Fire Union. And they're here today to also hear our voices of support for their concerns and their issues that we should be concerned about when they suit up to go to work here in Mount Vernon or in Yonkers. We should feel the same concerns that their family feels when they do go to work, because it is an important issue that they know that safety is the city's priority, it's also our priority, and we want to make sure that they know that they have our full support as they go to work to protect us. But before I speak, I want to bring up Mr. Damon Jones to talk. Damon?
Good morning, everybody. My name is Damon Jones. I'm the New York representative of Blacks in Law Enforcement in America, and I'm also a Mount Vernon resident. When you hear that the city is cutting public safety, the firemen are very important to the safety of the community. They respond to many other incidents, medical and fire, but to cut staff and the numbers that are here by Councilman Thomas is alarming, and I think with the taxpayers paying some of the highest taxes in Westchester, we need more firemen. We need our firemen. We need to hire more firemen for the city. We cannot forget the incident that happened, I think, a year ago with the Hispanic family that was caught in the blaze of fire, and it took them to call out for assistance. A city of Mount Vernon with the population should not have to call out every time for assistance from other communities, because it actually put those communities in danger. So I'm here today in support of the firemen of Mount Vernon and support the push for more public safety, and to be honest on the numbers. I think it's clear. Mount Vernon City Hall, the mayor, need to be honest about the numbers. They need to hire more firemen. They need to keep public safety a main issue in Mount Vernon. Thank you.
Thank you, Damon. So I just want to be clear as to what prompted this press conference today. What prompted this press conference today was somebody had a dumb idea to close a firehouse in Mount Vernon. It's one of the dumbest ideas you can ever imagine. Mount Vernon is 70,000 people, and we have 3 firehouses that are open right now, full operation per se, with equipment challenges in each. And yet, when you take one firehouse out, that basically makes each firehouse responsible for 35,000 people. How can we have public safety be a priority when we're closing firehouses in Mount Vernon? One of the things I can tell you is that when you start fighting for information, you start asking questions about where's the money going, you get silence, you get no response. So when we say we care about public safety, we can see that the trickery that goes on here in Mount Vernon has to stop. So what I have prepared was an analysis of some of the numbers that are reported to the state of New York that shows Mount Vernon on a consistent basis represents that we pay more money every year for fire and police salaries. And the difference, the variance between the numbers are upwards of $1 million a year. So whether it be overtime or just some financial game that's being played by City Hall, we have enough money to afford at least 12 more firefighters today in our budget. The same thing goes up to 13 more police officers today in our budget. And this is why I believe we have to focus on solutions. And as a candidate for mayor, I can tell you unequivocally that transparency is part of the solution. We need to open our books and make sure that folks know what our status is and what our options are. Participatory budgeting will empower neighborhoods, communities, businesses, all to chime in on what they would like to see and have a firm mechanism for accountability. We need to end the abuse of mutual aid. And I'll repeat that again. We need to end the abuse of mutual aid in Mount Vernon by hiring more firefighters today. It's not an affordability problem, it's a leadership problem. We need to put more cops on the street. We can do that. The money is in the budget to put more cops on the street today. We need to upgrade our equipment from a technological standpoint and also have a routine maintenance plan. Right now, we have 2 ladder trucks out of operation. That means we have 1 ladder truck ready to climb 4 stories or more to save somebody on a high-rise building. If something happens, mutual aid by design is going to have to kick into play. That is not fair to the residents of Yonkers and neighboring communities, nor is it fair to our firefighters who are putting their lives on the line here in Mount Vernon. And the last and most important part is I will bring in a world-class team to make sure that management supports our firefighters and our police, not work against them. So I'm here today to take some questions on this issue and also make sure everybody knows that our voice, our stance is firm, that we support our firefighters, our police, and our emergency services personnel. Thank you. Questions?
What's your response to the mayor's office saying that the firehouse wasn't closed, hasn't been closed, and there is enough manpower?
Well, I say the mayor really needs to take a hard look at the abuse of mutual aid numbers, and I think he needs to take a hard look at all the lives lost in Mount Vernon over the past few years due to the fact that we have understaffed fire departments and lack of equipment. And I think he needs to go tell those families that have lost loved ones that, hey, everything's all right here. How about Artuso's Bakery that burnt down a few months ago? Artuso's Bakery, from what I understand, they had issues with water. They couldn't get enough water through their system to put out the fire. So it burnt down to the ground. Now here you have a business that's been in Mount Vernon for 75 years. 80+ working class families lose their job overnight. Now they opened up in Mount Vernon again. They had to fight to get a permit. They had to fight to get reopened. They lost 30% of their business. Mount Vernon hasn't blocked the road around the city to keep them in. So you have a whole agency problem where the economic support for our businesses are not there, along with the basic services of fire protection. That's a huge problem. So what happens when Artuso's moves to Orange County, Mayapack, or New Jersey or Connecticut because they see that the municipality is going to support them? That's something that we have to keep in mind. We have to protect our businesses just as much as we have to protect our families. So the mayor, I think, is very ill-advised in this matter.
Can you talk a bit about what you found in terms of the hydrants being maintained or not being maintained?
So typically on an annual basis, the city of Mount Vernon goes through a nightly routine of flushing fire hydrants. Now, this process began in late April. But when you go around and check all the fire hydrants in town, many of them have not been flushed. So when you think of an Artuso's Bakery, or you think of some of the homes that have burnt down over the past few months, you ask yourself, why do we have to get extra engines which carry water to a fire location as opposed to using the fire hydrant at that location? That's an issue. That's a maintenance issue. It's a basic routine operation that you do. So anybody that is in the water department or anybody that's in City Hall should know that even if you close your eyes and walk in the office, you have to flush the system. You cannot have fire hydrants not operable. But what I can tell you is the consequences are severe. You have families that are exposed to danger. You have businesses that are burned down and lose business. And that's how we chase jobs and families out of Mount Vernon. More questions from the media, then I'll take questions from other third parties.
What do you say to the other candidates that say all of this is just a political stunt, a campaign stunt? You're only here because you're running for office.
I think my record is clear on this, and I've proven that I'm a man of my word. I've proven that I've stood up on the tough issues and stuck my neck out because I believe in Mount Vernon. I believe in our firemen. I believe in our police. I believe in emergency services. So to claim that this is a political stunt is again, I think, a very ill-advised comment that really doesn't speak to the depth of what my passion means for this city. I can tell you unequivocally that whether or not I'm running for office, whether or not I win or lose, I'm going to fight for these guys until the day I die. I was born and raised in Mount Vernon. I went to all public schools, and I grew up in a system where the fire department came to our schools, gave us tours of their trucks. We knew our firefighters, we respected them, we looked up to them. Same thing with our police. That relationship is completely gone. So I'm looking at this to say, look, we have to take care of our own. Let's get our house in order, and let's bring back Mount Vernon that we all knew.
And for the record, this was actually closed yesterday.
This was closed yesterday during a time when air conditioning use was going up. Electricity use was going up because of the sweltering humidity. And if you think of the power straps and all the technological equipment that are in homes, be it a flat screen TV, an iPad, a tablet, or a computer, if there were an electrical short of any kind because of an AC on, you're going to have a room or a fire happen in minutes during a time when the fire department here is closed. It's a very dangerous game that City Hall is playing by closing fire departments, fire stations for that matter, and relying on mutual aid to save the day. It's just a disgrace.
And what are the options to the particular
So,
situation?
just one more question. Any more questions from media before I take the third party question?
No.
Okay.
I was asking,
I'm sorry.
are there any immediate options to the situation?
The immediate option is to make sure that we get new leadership in City Hall. I mean, that's where I'm jumping to. But I can point to transparency being the real problem. If we don't know how much we're spending, then we're going to continue to waste money on problems we should not be wasting. And for example, if the fire